Remember, in every single situation, you need a patsy. If the media is telling you it's someone's fault, they're usually the patsy.
The fall guy.
Every story needs one. Every good story needs one. And every scam, every psyop needs one.
Wherever you guys are watching this show, I would truly appreciate it if you follow or subscribe. It helps a lot with the algorithm. It helps us get bigger and better guests, and it helps us grow the team. Truly means a lot. Thank you guys for supporting, and here's the episode. All right, guys, Gary, the numbers guy, part 3. First guest to come on 3 times. Thanks for coming.
I mean, appreciate it.
Every time you go viral, so I had to get you back, man.
Let's do it.
Powerful stuff you're teaching.
Well, I mean, listen, this is a matrix. I don't care what anyone says. A lot of people like to talk about God, which I call the prime creator. A lot of people who are out there talking about God, what they think is God and what I think is God is completely different. I think they actually might be praying to a devil. I believe there's a prime creator above everything, but he doesn't interfere. But I think the person or the entity in charge of this matrix, I don't think they're benevolent at all.
What do you mean?
I don't think the deity that runs this realm is benevolent in any sense of the imagination. I believe that people are actually praying to an entity that doesn't actually encompass love and forgiveness and all of that other stuff. I think it's more of entrapment, enslavement, things of that nature. Because think about it. If you're all powerful, why would you care if people worshiped you? It's really interesting how the Christians and Muslims seem to agree on one thing. You can be a rapist, you could be a murderer, you could commit any sort of sin, but as long as you take Jesus Christ or Allah as your Lord and Savior, it's all forgiven. Nah, karma doesn't work that way, pimp. So, what I'm thinking is, it kind of seems like a Ponzi scheme. And also, if they want to talk about, a lot of people say I'm running a cult and stuff like that, where there's no evidence of me running a cult. I haven't impregnated any of the women in my group, so how could I be running a cult? If I am, I'm doing a poor job of it. But, when it comes down to it, the biggest cult in the world is Christianity, about 2.3 billion.
Damn. And
the second is Islam. Now, I agree with some things in Islam. I think when a society is degenerate, and this society is degenerate, by every stretch of the imagination, this is a degenerate society we live in. So yes, Islam would be helpful right now. When you have a degenerate society, religion is helpful. Yet when you have a society that is somewhat on the right track, then religion kind of holds them back. So it's like a balance with religion. When it's too degenerate, religion can be needy. Because I'd rather deal with the Bible thumpers and the Muslims than the LGBT. Any day of the week, I'd rather deal with these people who want to believe a woman was impregnated somehow by a miracle, or that a man who is illiterate wrote the Quran. Those kind of seem like fairy tales to me, but I'd rather deal with that than people who think a woman and a man constitutes a family.
Right. So you don't tie yourself to any specific religion?
I mean, if I was really to think of any philosophy, maybe Buddhism.
Same.
Because I believe in karma and reincarnation and stuff like that. So whatever my parents are or whatever religion that is, I've never been to temple, consistently or something like that. I'm more reincarnation, karma. I believe you're supposed to be a good person. Try to help the people you can. You can't help everyone. And if you try to help everyone, you're going to get burned. And you're going to think of me when it happens. You ever try to help people and then all of a sudden you get burned?
Yeah.
So sometimes, when you try to stick your nose into business where a young soul has to evolve itself and you try to push them forward, sometimes, you get burned for doing it.
They're not ready, right?
No, they're just not ready. You're a 33 life path. You know damn well you try to help with so many people, and how many times you get burned, brother?
Almost every time. Anytime I give a loan, I never get the money back.
Well, you ever watch that movie, A Bronx Tale?
No.
So in The Bronx Tale, you used to watch that movie. Everyone should watch that movie. Basically, this guy owes someone $20, and he's like, Don't worry about it. This guy's never is out of your life for $20. Cheap.
I love that.
Cheap. They ain't coming back to ask you more. Can you imagine someone owes you money and they come back again?
Yeah.
That's like the U.S. government.
The IRS.
100%.
Speaking of the government, election season, what are you thinking right now for the debate?
I mean, anyone who saw that debate and still thinks Joe Biden is fit to run this country, you need to get your mental stability checked. I mean, it's very obvious this guy's mentally ill with forms of dementia. This guy, I don't want to talk too bad about the guy, even though I hate his guts because of his politics and his policies and how he's running a money laundering operation in Ukraine and a whole list of people. I mean, in all honesty, when I look at Joe Biden, your one son was in the military, attorney general, I believe, of a state, and he died, and that's unfortunate. But your other son's a complete up. If you don't have good kids and you can't raise good quality kids, what right do you have to raise, be the head guy in the United States of America? You can't even raise your kids right. Your kids out there, with guns, all sorts of. I mean, this is a sick family. This is a sick family by any stretch of the imagination. They got issues. And when I look at Joe Biden, I don't want to go back because he's a senile old man at this point. But he has no business being in the White House. And I don't give a what you say about Donald Trump. Donald Trump is a good businessman, and he knows how to get that economy going. And, the economy helps everybody. It doesn't matter who you are, black, white, even, gay, whatever. If you have a good economy in the United States of America, that helps everybody. That's like universal. It really does trickle down. If people are really rich, guess what? They're going to spend more money. That means more jobs, more opportunities open up. This isn't rocket science. I understand this is unique thinking to communists and a lot of feminists because, it's the feminists that actually put Joe Biden in office.
Really?
I mean, let's think about it. Married women, 53% went for Donald Trump. Single mothers, 67% went for Biden.
Wow.
So women who decided they don't need a man in their life for one reason or another, maybe they couldn't keep their legs closed, maybe they couldn't do a wide variety of things, and they decided to need handouts from the government, decided to vote for Joe Biden. Shocking. Absolutely shocking. And this is why I keep telling people, and I don't care how controversial it sounds, 19 didn't do anything. It wasn't even that much damage compared to what the 19th Amendment did.
Which amendment is that?
Women's rights. Think about this. Before 1920, when women's rights was passed, this country had no debt. Zero debt.
Wow.
After women's rights got passed, women are always going to vote for entitlement programs. That's why women think like socialists and communists. That's why the Russian Revolution in 1917 was started by women. I'll give you a quick story. There is a country called Venezuela, and there is a guy running called Hugo Chavez, very charismatic leader. And he was overthrown by the U.S. government in 2002 in a coup. And they had their new president, puppet president. Again, the U.S. does what it does, CIA does what it does, but you have to understand it was to the benefit of that country from a capitalistic standpoint. And the women went in the streets and shut that down. And 20 years later, their daughters were prostitutes and their sons were criminals because socialism destroyed the country.
Wow.
Those are facts. Okay, I understand you want me to talk about numerology and astrology all the time, but we're going to throw some different numbers at people. Those are straight facts, and that's why it's important to make sure Donald Trump, who's not a saint by any stretch of the imagination, but we don't vote for a saint. We don't vote for someone who is going to make us feel better. We want a guy who's going to tell us the truth. There is no wars under Donald Trump. None. And by the way, you think this Ukrainian war would be happening if Donald Trump was still in office? Yet, zero chance it would be happening right now. Putin would have not went in if Donald Trump was president. Putin went in because Biden showed weakness. Do you remember Afghanistan?
Yeah.
Do you remember that pullout?
Yep.
Do you remember that debacle? That was Biden going against the same generals that were talking about Donald Trump. But Donald Trump didn't make that fiasco. Biden did. And what happened is that happened couple either 2020 or 2021, somewhere in those years. I think it was 2020. And that Putin saw that and he saw weakness. And you know, when a shark smells blood, it's going to go in. So it decided to test. And so far, they took about, what, 22% of the country?
Wow.
They didn't need this war, and it wouldn't have happened because you have to show strength, and no one's going to press Donald Trump. China's not going to test that guy. No one's going to test that guy. They know what's going to happen. But Biden is weak. And when you see a weak global power under weak leadership, other countries going to test you.
Absolutely.
And that's exactly what's going on right now. I mean, listen, think about it. If you're an American, think about this. You have people in other countries who are watching the president of the United States. And what do you think they're thinking? They're thinking this is a degenerate, fallen power. In a lot of cases, they might be right. But the fact of the matter is, if you are an American and America falls, so does your standard of living. You know, oil is kind of cheap for us compared to Europeans and Canadians. Inflation, as high as it is here under Biden, it's a lot higher in almost every other country in the world.
Wow.
So what you have to understand is because the U.S. dollar is the global currency, that keeps that inflation and kind of exports it to other countries. If the dollar ever stops being that global reserve, and yes, the Saudis have not renewed the deal with the Americans. A lot of people have reported that the Saudis are not going to use the U.S. dollar, but you have to understand, they're not going to use it 100%. They're still going to use it 90% or 95%. So the petrodollar system's still going to work. But if America does not repair its relationship with the House of Saud, specifically Crown Prince, we're in a lot of trouble. Because if the Crown Prince decides, yo, quite frankly, America, let's go to China, we're in for some trouble, bro. You're going to see inflation hit like 100% within 48 hours. Because what's going to happen is all those dollars are going to start flooding back into America because no one wants them anymore. Price of goods goes up like this. You don't want that. You do not want that to happen. So, you know, the Crown Prince is cool with Trump. Put Trump in office kind of cures that problem. So, again, I am not saying Donald Trump is a perfect human being. I'm telling you, under Trump, a lot of good things are going to happen. And you have to understand a lot of people in positions of power don't want that to happen. Is he the perfect candidate? Hell no. But once you get past that ideal stage where you should, like maybe it's 18, you think, oh, I'm going to change the world. You know, once you get to mid-20s, 30s, you should start understanding that it's the lesser evil.
Yeah.
And Donald Trump is by far the lesser evil. It's much better to deal with the guy who paid a than a guy who is sniffing on kids.
Agreed. Trump or RFK Jr.?
Trump.
You don't like RFK?
I think his dad, his family member, John F. Kennedy, was the greatest modern day president in American history. He was much better than Donald Trump is by every stretch of the imagination. I mean, but he was a lot like Trump too. You know, two Geminis in there sleeping with I mean, he was sleeping with Marilyn Monroe when he was president. As a matter of fact, Monroe was killed by the CIA because she was sleeping with Fidel Castro. She was sleeping with President Kennedy. You know, high-class whore. She's sleeping with everybody. But the CIA believed that she was taking secrets from John F. Kennedy and passing them on to Fidel.
Wow.
So that's why Marilyn Monroe was killed, because they believed that she was passing on secrets and things of that nature. But listen, John F. Kennedy was an amazing human being. This guy passed Executive Order 11110 on 6/4/1963, adds up to an 11. He did it on 11/11. He waited to that specific executive order, and he took away the printing press from the Federal Reserve. Now, John F. Kennedy was with the CIA, and they're part of this organization, and he was messing with a lot of levers of the so-called deep state or whatever else. But it's when he started with their money, then it became serious. And on 11/22, on the 6th floor, someone shot him, and the CIA made it seem like the mob did it, when they were just the patsies. Remember, in every single situation, you need a patsy. Everyone needs a patsy. Remember, if the media is telling you it's someone's fault, they're usually the patsy.
The fall guy.
Every story needs one. Every good story needs one. And every scam, every psyop needs one too. So the CIA had the mob as their patsy. They killed Kennedy. And by the way, when Lyndon Johnson came to power, before Kennedy's body was cold, the first thing he did, the first order he signed, was to repeal Executive Order 11110.
Wow.
The Federal Reserve got its printing presses back, and then the CIA was running American foreign policy from 1963 until 2017, when Donald Trump came to power.
Crazy.
And then Donald Trump started running American foreign policy again, to a point. A president could only do so much. Let's not kid ourselves. And our president isn't even as powerful as the French presidential system. The French presidential system, he's naming his prime minister. He's doing all sorts of stuff. The American president isn't the actually strongest version of the presidency in any electoral or government system that's being used today. So,
do you think they'll go after Trump?
I think if Trump wins, and there's a good chance, after that debacle yesterday, they might force Biden to step down.
Yeah.
And if that happens, Michelle Obama, watch that name come up. If Biden is forced to step down because of that debacle, because right now Democrats are like, yo, listen, I bleed with you guys, but there's no way Democrats could look at that debacle that went out yesterday and be like, yo, I support Biden. You got to be out your mind at this point. That's like saying, yo, I support pedos at this point. That's what you're basically saying. So he might get replaced, and Michelle Obama might be that guy. But I'm not saying anything that Malik Obama, the brother of President Obama,
who you interviewed.
Yes, many times.
And you told me all this a year and a half ago that this would happen too.
Of course.
You're able to predict a lot of things.
Oh yeah, but numerology ain't real, right, Sartain? So,
Sartain
again, people, Sneeko or all of these other guys, they can see what they want. But at the same time, when a guy like Sneeko says, oh, I don't believe in numerology, but he'll also say that the people in positions of power do believe in numerology. So what are you saying, Sneeko? You're smarter than the people running the planet, or anyone else who's a critic. So there's these people who actually say it's real, but, oh, the Bible's against it, or the Quran's against it. First of all, nowhere in the Quran does it say, numerology is haram. And I've had Muslim scholars tell me this. So that's number one. The Christians can say, oh, astrology is from the devil. Listen, if your Bible wasn't rewritten more times than back alley horror was ran through, I maybe I'll take your, something at what you're saying at face value. But the fact of the matter is, I believe your Bible was rewritten many times. Many times. And the reason I'm bringing up religion so much is because people are grifting religion an awful lot in 2024, and that's exactly what I predicted. Because one of my things as a numerologist, I remember first time I went to Russia, I noticed, it was 2006, and I noticed something. I noticed that all the imams and the priests were 8s. And I was like, why would priests and imams and rabbis mostly be 8s? And then you have to understand that 8 is the number of money, but it's also the number of power. And the church used to be the power structure. So a lot of people who are grifters, they like to use God. Patrick Bet-David is, used to be an atheist now. And by the way, I'm not supporting atheism in any stretch of the imagination whatsoever. I believe in the prime creator. I don't believe in your gods or whatever the hell they are, demons or angels. I believe in the prime creator, but I also believe the prime creator does not interfere. He just judges you based off your karma at the end of the journey. That's it. He's going to throw you in the deep end and see what are you going to do to survive? Are you going to actually take someone's life raft away from them and you know, steal and murder to get ahead? Or are you going to work hard, be a good person, help out, you know, people who are loyal to you, and obviously step on the necks of the people who, you know, try to go after you? Everything is yin yang.
Right. So I love that. You had a really viral clip recently. You said women with a butterfly tattoo are possessed.
I mean, listen, I do believe this world is run by negative energies. In the Quran, they're called jinn. And I do believe when you drink alcohol, I do believe when you're a whore, I do believe that allows for possession. I believe these jinn demons like to possess human bodies and feel the lust, feel sin. And one of the ways they identify with each other is they put a butterfly tattoo, because to a butterfly evolves from a caterpillar. So when these demons possess these humans, all of a sudden they have an urge to get a butterfly tattoo. It's like the most common tattoo in America. A butterfly tattoo. Why do all of a sudden people become whores and alcoholics and they want to get a butterfly tattoo? You know, it's not just like women. I see it on guys too. I'm like, okay, I know you've been doing. So again, it's just one of those things in life when you know a lot about a lot, you can start observing.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to save some people a lot of headaches. You see someone with a butterfly tattoo, and I'm not saying it's 100%. So yes, you could be looking at this video and be like, "Oh, Gary, no. Okay, you're the exception. But 99% of them, it's real."
That's wild. You got banned off Twitter, dude. What happened?
Elon probably doesn't like me.
What'd you tweet?
Who the hell knows? Who the hell knows? Listen, I just, you know, find it unique that it doesn't matter if it's a leftist organization running Twitter or so-called right-wing guy now who was considered a leftist 10 years ago running Twitter. I keep getting banned. As a matter of fact, I think I'm the most banned guy in Twitter history, which is why I'm not even going to drop my... Oh, did you drop it here?
What,
My
your handle?
Yeah, don't do that, because that's going to give another reason to ban something, okay? So you're going to have to do some work to actually find me, but at this point, I can't use my name, Gary the Numbers Guy, on Twitter.
Wow.
So
They banned the whole word?
I mean, any account that has that seems to go down. Here's the problem with that. And if Elon Musk and all these people are listening, you know, I'm going to drop all the emotions and all this other stuff that you guys are costing me like 6 figures a month. Regardless, it is what it is. I used to tell people not to get vaccinated under the old regime. They'd suspend me like 10 times, and I turned out to be right. You know, so it is what it is. People who have morals, they have to live with certain consequences of, you know, expressing those morals. So it is what it is. I would rather be a millionaire and have my morals and have my karma than be a billionaire and basically be a very negative person. So that's what I consider that balance in life. But when it comes down to Elon, I want you to understand something. There's people pretending to be me who are not being suspended, and they're going in people's DMs, impersonating me, saying, "Yo, give me money, I'm Gary." And they're actually conning people. This is what happens when you ban someone who actually built a whole following on Twitter, in a big one too. I mean, if you add up all my suspended accounts, we're talking about 500,000. And by the way, that's not like a made up number, because I have like over 760 on a TikTok account. If you count all my TikTok accounts, all the fan pages, easily over 1.5 million. If you do all my IGs together from the 300,000 to the 100,000, I've close to like 2 million followers in various accounts.
Yeah.
This is how I had to do it, because if you have one big account, they could whack it.
Right.
You might as well spread it out a little bit. You know, it is what it is. And you have to understand, if you go against the system anyway, you either adapt or you die. Plain and simple.
Twitter one surprised me because he unbanned Alex Jones, unbanned a lot of controversial people. So that surprised me that he banned you. I'd be very curious what you said.
Nick Fuentes isn't banned on Twitter, but I am. I'm seriously more controversial than Nick Fuentes.
What do you think of him? Because he actually messaged me yesterday to come on, but I don't even know if I could air that one.
it's possible. Listen, a lot of the stuff he talks about is real. Okay? A lot of stuff he talks about is real. I won't dispute his facts. I would probably agree with about 80% of them without going into details. But when you blame a group of people instead of a entity, you run into problems.
Are you interested in coming on the Digital Social Hour podcast as a guest? Well, click the application link below in the description of this video. We are always looking for cool stories, cool entrepreneurs to talk to about business and life. Click the application link below, and here's the episode, guys.
You let him. By the way, everyone's been a slave. White people, Indians, blacks, everyone has been a slave. People don't want to hear the truth, bro. You know that.
Yeah.
That's why you bring in controversial people and don't say the statements yourself.
I just want the truth, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's one way to get it out.
You don't hear any of this on the media.
No.
Not even close.
I mean, they'll tell you Joe Biden is running a fabulous, administration, and Obama was the most scandal-free administration in American history when, this guy was a criminal. But
I couldn't believe how many people were shocked yesterday at Joe Biden, but we already knew this for years.
I think at first I didn't even believe that the Biden team even accepted a debate. I didn't think they'd accept one.
Yeah.
And now what I think happened is I think they hung him out to dry because they usually inject him with some kind of drug so he's a little bit more active, a little better at talking. I don't think he got his injections.
He refused the drug test.
Of course. Okay. Yeah, whatever. And I don't know, so would Trump in all honesty, but I think they hung him out to dry because they need the Democrats to replace. I think Michelle Obama might have an opening right now.
You think Michelle over Newsom?
Gavin's possible. Gavin's a very, very strong Democrat. He's got a good mouthpiece. That's the difference between men and women. A man will hate you, but he'll still respect you. A woman will hate you. One thing, and she'll hate everything about you, the way you walk, talk, dress, everything. And that's why I can say Gavin Newsom's a piece of garbage, but he has a good mouthpiece. He's a good talker. So, yeah, he could definitely brainwash a lot more people than Biden could at this point.
You had another video I thought was interesting. So a lot of people are having miscarriages right now and issue having kids. You recommended them to have sex on the 5th of every month.
Correct. 5th, 14th, 1 and 4 is 5, 23rd, 2 and 3 is 5. And 5 deals with sexual energy. And when you have sex under the right energy, it helps out.
I know so many people with miscarriages right now, dude. It's crazy.
That vaccine.
You think so?
That vaccine. That vaccine. I mean, think about this. If you're going to basically take down the world's population, or you want certain people not to reproduce, make them scared. Make them take a vaccine. And wow, that vaccine was the biggest psyop in world history. If you got vaccinated, you a damn fool. I don't care how much money you have. I don't care what you accomplish in life. I don't care if you think you're the smartest, best looking, how much you bench press, how good you look with a bathing suit on. None of that matters. You got psyop, chump.
The data coming out now is scary.
No, I mean, that's what happens when you trust the government.
How early did you know about it?
Oh, dude. March 2020, I figured out.
Damn,
9 months. That's when they suspended me on Twitter because I said, no matter what you do not take their vaccine. Because I already knew where this was going.
Before it came out.
Oh, of course. I knew where this was going. They want to scare the people into taking some poison. I knew where this was going. And it's not that difficult to emotionally manipulate women. And, beta males were raised by women. And again, I'm not trying to, attack women here, but we have to face facts. 85% of rapists in prison right now come from single mothers.
Wow.
85%. So if you think about it, women, you're creating your own problem. You understand what I'm trying to tell you? 85% of rapists come from single mothers. Why is that? No man around. And when you have this constant cycle, at some point, society implodes. What do you think? The Biden administration would be able to be running a money laundering operation in Ukraine, getting kickbacks left and right through the Obama administration? All these acts. What do you think Obama and Joe Biden were doing in Ukraine 10 years ago? They were setting all this stuff up. Why do you think these politicians like giving foreign aid so much? Every time I go to a foreign country, they're all, I was in Russia, they were about these people. Every time, you have to understand, the best way for a politician to steal is to give foreign aid. Because they give this money away. They're so benevolent to take your money and ship it away, but these people they're giving it to, getting kickbacks. That's how it works. That's why they always champion foreign aid, because it's a way to steal. Never trust these politicians, man. Ever.
Those are our tax dollars too.
I mean, listen, if these people wanted to be fair, they would change the whole tax code and only charge corporations like Apple, Target, Walmart, and charge them. You only look at their taxes, and everything you buy, 15%, 17% tax. Everything, flat tax. Now, number one, you don't charge any food, so that way it doesn't hurt the poor people. And you can have certain things very low taxed, because that would help the poor people who couldn't afford that 17%. But everyone else, that's it. Everything, every dollar, 17 cents goes to the government, and you can fund everything on that. Absolutely everything. You don't need all these other tax. But that's why they make the tax code so difficult, so they can steal. So the average person can't look at this stuff. Whether you believe in numerology or not, believe this: the government is always cooking the books. They're always cooking the books, okay? And I really want people to understand, if you trust the government, you're a freaking fool. Government's killed more people than disease or heart attack, anything. Government kills. And we just found out with the vaccine. Absolutely. Because it didn't matter if you were in a socialist government like Canada, a capitalist government, so-called capitalism like America, a mob-run dictatorship like Russia, a total dictatorship like China. They all said, take that vaccine.
All of them.
All of them.
Crazy.
So what that shows you is there's a hidden hand.
Agreed.
It proves that. They all had the same response. People who argue about everything all had the same response to that.
Not a single country was against it.
There's a couple African countries, and their leaders somehow had accidents.
Wow. That is nuts.
Yeah.
Even the poorest countries were having their citizens taken.
Course.
I went to Bolivia, and we had to fly in.
Of course.
Crazy.
They don't trust the greedy American pigs, but when it came to we got to do what they do.
Nuts.
Same thing with the Chinese. Oh, yeah, America bad, but vaccine. Come on, guys.
That's the one thing I think Trump handled poorly, actually.
And that's why I said he's not a perfect president. I mean, if it was John F. Kennedy versus, Trump, I'm with Kennedy. And by the way, Kennedy was a Democrat, but today he would be considered a staunch Republican. That's how much the pendulum has swung. That much. I mean, let's talk about Elon Musk. Elon Musk is for universal
healthcare.
Yeah, universal healthcare. He's for, I'm not sure. He's for universal income. He's for a lot of socialist programs, and now he's championing the right. Again, I'm suspended, so it doesn't matter at this point, man. All right, this is what happened with Elon. He's a far leftist. If this was 2008, everyone would be calling him a leftist. Where the pendulum was swung so far that he's considered a right-wing moderate at this point. Right. I mean, it's just complete insanity, just to even think about that. But what really happened was Elon Musk's daughter decided to become a transsexual and disowned him.
Whoa.
And he became so enraged that his daughter became a transsexual. He's like, I'm going to fight the woke agenda. And that's why he bought Twitter, and that's why he's doing this.
Damn.
That's it, because he's pissed off that his daughter turned into a trans. He's pissed off that he's such a failure as a father that he couldn't stop his daughter from becoming a trans. And that's exactly what any father who has a trans daughter, you are a failure. So he decided to get petty. And I'm going to say, honestly, for most people who have my line of thinking, Twitter's better because of Elon Musk. But it doesn't matter for me. Righties, lefties, Gary's being suspended because, the numerologist is the dangerous one.
That's crazy. I didn't know his daughter or son changed genders, whatever
Yeah,
it was.
whatever. Yeah, that's exactly why he turned anti-woke.
Crazy.
Because his daughter turned into trans. And I dare him to deny this. Because, suspend my another account. Go ahead, brother. Who cares, man, at this point?
Have you seen the data on kids that are coming out as gay now and trans and stuff?
Yeah.
It's really high.
What's the percentage?
Last time I checked, 1 in 4, 1 in 5, something crazy.
1 in 4. Dude. What is happening that 1 in 4 and 1 in 5 decide they want to hold their ankles now? What is happening that, with kids now? It's the propaganda. This is why I don't let my kids watch TV. Like in my house, the TVs are used as like hangers.
Wow.
We don't watch TV because I don't want any of that gay agenda being passed down to the kids. Let's look at MrBeast. MrBeast. Can you pull up his colors? The MrBeast logo?
Can you pull it up, Spencer?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's blue and...
Yeah. That little MrBeast. Pull it up. And after you pull that up, pull up the transgender flag.
I don't even know what the transgender flag is.
Just put them side by side. I want the audience to actually see this.
So you think the Chris Tyson thing was planned?
Oh, of course it was.
Really? Because he was with him for a while.
Yeah, he was.
So that would be a long plan.
Mm-hmm. Let's see if we can see these side by side.
Does it work, Spencer?
Okay.
Oh, it's not.
So they'll cut up the clips.
Yeah.
They'll cut up the clips. So, anyways, if you look at MrBeast's logo, it's the same exact colors as a transgender flag, and then they had the 33 life path in his crew turn into a trans.
Oh, Chris.
Again, of course, he's a 33. So they're using the 33's influence to turn kids into trans because when they watch that, it normalizes that content. And MrBeast, this goes out to you. I know you think you're doing good with that devil money you got. You're giving money away. You're making a difference. You're helping people who are poor. I know what you're thinking. I made a deal, but I'm actually helping people. The amount of damage you are doing, it doesn't matter how many people you help. You're going to hell, bro.
Damn.
You are going to hell, MrBeast. Why do you think his name is MrBeast? For God's sake, this is not rocket science. This man cut a deal with the people in positions of power to turn kids into their sexual degenerates, and he's getting paid billions and billions of dollars for it.
Damn.
So it is what it is.
He doesn't seem materialistic, though. I'm surprised.
He doesn't. He probably justifies what he's doing by giving all the, blood money away. And, he's probably thinking, okay, I cut this deal, but what's the best thing I can do to basically make up for it? They have to be aware of what they're doing.
Crazy.
They have to be aware of what they're doing. They're not stupid.
Yeah. I wonder if Chris is still in the videos. I haven't watched him in a while.
He's still in the videos.
He's still in all the
him and Sneeko were just going at it.
I saw that. Sneeko's not a fan of that.
Sneeko was part of MrBeast's crew.
I remember that. He got rid of him.
Yep, they got rid of him, and the man turned to God, and the other one turned to transgenderism.
Don't you think they put a lot of these celebrities in this position, though?
Yes. And again, we don't know why Chris did it. Did he do it for money? Did they put a gun to his head and say, if you don't do this, you're going to have an accident? We don't know what it did. God will judge you. The prime creator, I shouldn't even say God. You're false gods. The prime creator is going to judge every single one of you. We'll find out. Well, actually, we never will, but intent matters.
I just feel like once they reach a certain level, someone's knocking at their door, scaring them. Who knows?
Pretty much. But I mean, listen, you don't want to be the biggest guy in the world. You just want to make a difference. And if you have to have a certain level of celebrity to do that, you look at Andrew Tate. Did he do more harm? Did he do more good? Depends who you ask. But at the end of the day, I don't disagree with 80% of what he says. So.
Speaks a lot of truth. You saw him launch a crypto coin?
He said he never would do that.
He did it. Daddy coin.
Yep. I've never showed a coin in my life. I never got paid to show a coin. When influencers start getting paid to show things, and when they start running pump and dump scams, and I'm saying that's what's happening here because I don't know, but I can say this with a lot of certainty: a lot of these people are running pump and dump scams. That's all this is. Maybe one out of every 500 is actually worth something.
Yeah,
I think Ethereum's real. A lot of people who I respect say Solana is real. When it comes to privacy, Zcash, at some point that's going to do something because privacy is going to mean something at some point. But the petrodollar is going away. Slowly but surely it's going away. At some point the Fed is going to have to get everyone on the Fed coin crypto, and they're going to have to do it somehow. So expect a lot of changes by the end of this year and going to next year. Next year is the year of the snake, 2025. The snake always shed its skin. 1989, the Berlin Wall fell. 2001, 9/11. 2025, we'll have some kind of reset.
Damn, something big's gonna happen then.
Well, it's. I mean, if you notice, 2024, I said this on your show last year. People are all going to be about money this year.
Yep.
And a lot of people are struggling right now.
A lot
of people, the economy is real bad.
Terrible.
And again, a lot of this has to do with Bidenomics. When you have a president who's more interested in sniffing kids than actually helping people, that's what's going to be, the side effect of things like that. But the economy's horrible right now. I said that would be a side effect of 2024, 8 universal year. So it is what it is. Next year, people can go right back into numerology and astrology. I mean, it's just funny if you look at the red pill guys. In 2022, numerology and astrology is for betas. In 2023, there's something really in this. This is real. Because even if Sartain and people like Sneeko say they don't believe in it, they're talking about it.
Right.
They were talking about this before I came out of the scene. That shows you 33 influence. But that's why Tyson is using that 33 influence in a negative way to get kids into transgenderism. Once you understand the numerology and astrology, it gets a lot easier to see these people's moves. They put people in positions of power for a reason.
Crazy. Were you able to predict the Celtics winning this year?
I called 15 out of the past 18 championships since the year 2000 of all the big sports. NBA, and I'm talking about when they get to the championship game. NBA, NFL, baseball, and hockey.
Damn.
So 15 out of 18, unfortunately, the Boston Celtics were not one of those picks.
Okay. You had the Mavericks?
I know Cuban, so I tried to, I honestly think if they went with the 3-guard set and put Luka at point forward, played more like LeBron, had in Kyrie's hands a little bit more, and I think they could have done it. I really do, but no, happens,
Yeah.
I'll take my 83.3333 win percentage. I'm okay with that.
And that in sports betting is like insane. People aim for like 55% in sports betting.
Yeah, if you get 54%, you're considered expert by some people.
Yeah,
that's when you do. And NFL betting is the most difficult, and basketball because against the spread. With baseball, you're just usually doing money line, so it's a little bit different.
Do you feel like any sports are rigged?
I feel like they're all rigged to a point, but sometimes they rig a game and they still can't win. I've seen sports teams, basically the refs try to rig a game for another team's favor, and they can't take them over the top. I've seen that happen.
The Lakers.
That's listen, the NBA wants big markets to win.
Yep, they make more money.
They make more money, so they're gonna do what they can to get it to a game 7. I mean, we just had a game 7 in hockey. A lot of strings were probably pulled to get that to a game 7. At the end of the day, it's a business. Some of these people out there, I'm like, I have to watch how I make photos in my house, make sure there's no landmarks around, because these people will spend time trying to analyze where you live.
Jeez, yeah.
These people are sick in the head. You have to understand, a lot of people, they don't have what it takes to get behind this mic. They don't have it, okay? I can be intelligent. I could know a lot of things, but unless you're able to articulate what the hell you want to say and do it with, a level of charisma, you're not going anywhere. So that's when people start hating, because they think, oh, if you do it, they can do it. And you know damn well that how many times have you met people who were influencers for dinner? How many times have you went out to events just to network? They don't get that aspect. You got to put in a lot of work to get to know people.
Yeah.
You network with one person that leads to another, that leads to another. You've been doing this for a while. You know how this works. I saw you the president's kid the other time. Yeah. So when it comes down to it, you got to put in a lot of work, and people look at this stuff and they think it's easy and they think, oh, I can do this. And then they start hating. There's a lot of haters out there. And let me tell you something. With the exception of maybe some losers like Abel and Preach, you can't make content just hating people. If you're just making content hating other people, you're not talented. You're basically a grifter. You're trying to attach yourself to better men than yourself for attention because you couldn't get that attention any other way.
Yeah.
So you want to attach it to people who are quite frankly better than you. But there's a glass ceiling for that because when times comes down to you actually producing content yourself, you can't do it. It is what it is.
I also believe when you hate on others, it manifests in your own life.
I've seen examples of that.
100%.
I've seen examples of that.
What do you got coming up next? Any courses or things you want to promote?
I'm doing the same thing. I don't actually have to promote too many things because at the end of the day, people know, when it comes to numerology, there's only one numerologist anyone knows about. It's mine.
Yep.
So I don't really have to do much. But if you want to learn numerology, you learn the basics of it, GG33 Academy. If you want a reading with me, which is honestly pretty expensive for most people, but I do have my students who have trained very well, go to GG33 classes. I can put out my main Instagram account is matrixprime_, because they're not going to suspend me on there because honestly, Mark Zuckerberg is a lot more patient with me than Elon Musk. So shout out to him.
Shout out to Mark. All right. We'll link it below. Thanks for coming on, man.
Appreciate it, brother.
Thanks for watching, guys. Check the stuff out. See you next time.